Oh my God.
My name is Elyse Suarez. I am the course director for the project management and assessment classes here in 3D arts, game art, and computer animation. And I have the very, very distinct pleasure of having brought in this Nickelodeon panel to talk about their experiences after school and whatnot. So I'm gonna let these guys go ahead and introduce themselves and talk about what they do a little bit, so.
Let me start. That's so weird. All right. Oh man, it's weird to hear yourself. Okay, so my name's Tyler Kakac. I am an animator at Nickelodeon. You guys probably know we worked on Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. I graduated in 2010, and I first started looking for jobs and stuff. Got an internship up at a small studio in Tennessee, and then, you know, a few months later, period of time later, then got a call from Nickelodeon, did the interview process, and I've been there since 2011. So it's been fun.
My name is Elyse Hartey. I graduated November 2006. I've been at Nickelodeon since then, pretty much, about 7 years. I've worked on many, many shows. Should I list them? Tak and the Power of Juju, Penguins of Madagascar, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Monsters vs. Aliens, a little bit on Dora the Explorer, a little bit on Korra, a very little bit on Korra, like one airship, and that's about it. That is all I can remember at the. Oh, Robot and Monster. That's about it, I think. But yeah, I've been there for a long time. Derek?
Yes, I'm Derek Prieur. I graduated Full Sail in 2009, October. I have pretty much been at Nickelodeon ever since then. I got very lucky. I did 3 phone interviews, and I was currently living in Florida at the time. So I grabbed everything I had, threw it in the back of my Camaro, took a 3-day drive to California, bought the first hotel I found, or apartment, I'm sorry. And it was really crappy, needless to say. But I've loved it ever since then. I started on Penguins of Madagascar. I came in around the end of season 2 and finished the show. And then after that, I went on to Monsters vs. Aliens, and I was there for that entire season. And then just recently, I started on Turtles in July, and I'm working on season 2 and up. So far, I love it a lot. I rig, by the way. I don't know if I said that. And yeah, I think that's about it. I've been in California for almost 4 years now, and it's been pretty great.
Elyse, do you want to say what you do first before I go?
I'm mostly a texture artist, but I do a little bit of everything.
And Tyler, did you say that you?
Animator.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we even need microphones.
What?
Making stuff move.
Hi, I'm Jessica Colet. I'm a lighting artist at Nickelodeon, and I graduated in 2011, so I'm the baby of this group. And I've been on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ever since. And I got a phone interview as well as Derek. I didn't expect to get a job, and graduated. Next thing I know, I get a phone call, and I'm moving out to LA to work at Nickelodeon. So I got really lucky.
So I'm kind of curious as to what kind of skill sets in particular. You know, you're in school, you're kind of focusing, you're an animator, you know, texture, whatnot. I'm kind of interested, I'm sure these guys are interested in what kind of skill sets in particular help you land the jobs that you have now. Like, what is it on your reels that somebody was like, oh, that's pretty badass. We need to talk to this guy.
Okay.
We can
start at the
Go,
other end.
just go that way.
All right, I will go. Into 4 mic. Here we go. I talked to him when I had the phone interview, and I just asked him. You know, they're like, "Do you have any questions for me?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What was it in my reel that, you know, kind of made you want to call me?" And so I just straight up asked them, and they said, "You have a really good sense of timing. Your poses are pretty solid. Like, we can see everything happening without necessarily like having the sound on or whatever. Like, they could just tell the weight of things." So it was, I guess the biggest thing they said was timing. Had a good sense of timing and all that kind of stuff, and kind of staging of the shots and that kind of thing. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing they said? I'm trying to think. It's a while ago. Sorry.
It's not that long.
It moved appealing enough for them. So, got the job. Nailed it.
I think mine, because I was a texture artist originally, I think it was just the artistic side of it. I tried to do kind of a storyline. I did like a Pixar thing, like a world inside a world. Like started off inside a snow globe and like pulled out into a house kind of thing. Yeah, it's good to have some kind of a storyline, kind of tell a story in your demo reel a little bit instead of just constant turntables. And I did, not a lot of places just do phone interviews. Nickelodeon does that. Not a lot of places want to meet you first, but I got a phone interview too. Mine was just one phone call and I got the job. It was kind of crazy. And I think the one thing that they really liked is I told them that I love UVing. And they kind of thought I was crazy, but they laughed at me and they thought that was funny. So I think that's what got me in with them. So.
Awesome. I rig, I said that. I'm not much of a scripter personally. I care more about skinning and the aesthetics of the rig. I feel like you should know the basics. If you're really looking for a rigging job, you need to know how to do like an IK, an FK, a stretch, etc.
Why'd they hire you?
Oh, why? My demo reel was actually pretty bad. I hated it, to be totally honest, because it was so hard for me when I was here to get riggable characters from other students, because at the time, everyone was doing ZBrush and everything was like a sculpture, so I had no edge flow. I couldn't rig anything. So I actually ended up having to like buy 2 of my rigs that I put on my reel, and then I had to animate it all myself, and I'm like the worst animator ever. I don't know if Tyler's never seen anything, and I don't think he ever wants to. But
I'd love to.
During my interview, actually, the lead rigger at the time was the one who sat down and watched my reel, and he told me he could tell through the rigs that everything was there and it was set up properly, just that my animations were really bad. So it made everyone else think the rigs were terrible. And but he really liked my deformation. Like I just had some really bad walk cycles, but from that you could see the way that the skinning bent, like in the knees and the elbows and usually like fingers and that kind of stuff. So from that, he said he liked what I had and he does see room for improvement. So they were gonna give me the chance. And so yeah, like I said, I just packed everything I had and I left instantly. But yeah, I got very lucky. I consider myself very lucky.
I think we all do. As a lighting artist, I don't really remember, but I think one of the main things they said was that I had a good understanding of the basics. So they asked me like how I set up my scene, and one thing that my boss now really liked is that I could explain every single thing that I did instead of just being like, oh, I don't know. I just put some lights in the scene. Because I guess a lot of people do what they do, and then later on, they're just like, oh, I managed to do it, and I can't explain how I did it. But also a good understanding of how to place your lights and knowing where the light source comes from, knowing how light interacts with a scene and different materials, and also being able to fake it. Not making GI and Final Gather do everything for you, being able to use lights for bounce and stuff like that. And that was pretty strong in my reel. I still look back on it and think it's terrible, but that's what they said they hired me for.
Mine's still awesome.
I hate UVing.
Me too.
Just throwing that out
All
there.
of us do except for Elyse.
I know, I think that's why I got the job.
I think that's exactly why you got the job. Okay, so let's play a little role reversal here real fast. You're sitting over there, they're sitting up here. What kind of wisdom would you impart? Would you want to hear?
We had so much prepared for this, and now we're sitting up here going, what the heck do we say?
I had nothing prepared. She's a lot.
Like, you know, what would you do differently if you were a student? Looking back now, kind of a retrospective.
Working at Nickelodeon is amazing. It's fun, it's great, but it's still a job. and you still have a boss that you have to be nice to, even if he's, amazing and, or not amazing. Starting off as a young person just out of school, you kind of have like an attitude of, I know what I'm gonna do, or you're totally humble and you mess up a lot. But I definitely kind of had an attitude going in, getting the job at Nickelodeon. I was like, oh, this is awesome, and I obviously must know what I'm doing, and I don't. And you have a lot to learn. And more than just your work, at Full Sail, we kind of don't have to deal on a day-to-day basis with our professors because we sit in a lab all day, we sit in the back of the room on our computers. I know you guys do it because I did it. You play video games while they're giving you notes or whatever. And you don't have that interaction. And then when you actually get into a job and are working with coworkers, you have to have that tact and know how to talk to people. And it can be really hard. And even though I talk a lot and I'm very outgoing, it's still really hard to be professional. Yeah. And so try to practice that now. I don't know how you could. I mean, maybe you guys can add something, but.
I mean, a little humility goes a long way.
Yeah.
Definitely. When you get out there, when you're talking to people who've been in the industry for 10, 12 years, 20 years, work on all kinds of crazy things. And you go in there with an attitude, like you know it all. That ain't gonna work out for you.
Sometimes you have to do that, though.
It's true.
Because sometimes you just feel like, oh, Nuke? Yeah, I know Nuke. Yeah, I can do that. And just figure it out as you go.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is a very different thing from,
yeah.
I guess, kind of just bold face, going in there lying or whatever it might be. So keep that in mind, guys.
Yeah, there's a difference between knowing what you're gonna do, like, I mean, if you've touched Nuke and then you don't touch it for a year, but you're pretty sure you can figure it out, totally be confident. Go in there and be like, yeah, I know Nuke. I've done that for years. Like, just walk in and do that. But when it comes to, like, dealing with people, we heard some advice earlier today or yesterday. It was, like, dealing with stars, like rock stars for the show pro people. But it kind of goes with anybody. Like, be humble, be quiet until you learn how a person is, and then go from there. Because I went in just being myself, being talkative, and I kind of wish I had taken a step back and waited for, my coworkers to show me how they were, and then approach them.
Very good. Very nice.
But I love my job, just saying.
So how about this? What are your biggest challenges in some of your jobs? Like, what have you kind of taken from it? What have you learned? What's your day-to-day like, even? It's a lot in there.
I'm talking a lot. Someone else.
For me, basically, I roll in usually around 10, and then I'm there till 7 or 8. Lately, I've been doing a lot of overtime. It just depends on the project, what they need done. For the most part, day to day, I come in, I talk to my lead, I see what's up and coming, what I need to get done for the day. If there's priorities, because right now on the rigging team, we all have anywhere from 2 to 3 characters on our list. So we take the highest priority and we get that done first, like whatever needs to be sent to animation. And then we go from there. We have a basic auto rig, which pretty much gives us just a basic layout. It gives us an IK and an FK. And then anything extra on top of that, we have to make by hand, unless you have your own scripts. So basically, I get anywhere from 7 to 8 days, start to finish, to rig a whole character. I get the model from the modelers, and he's usually in T pose, T to A pose. And then I do placement. I resize all the controls. I set it up the way I want it to. Set up the hierarchy. Always keep a clean hierarchy. It makes everything so much better when you work in a pipeline if everything's named properly and in the right place. What else? From there, I skin. I start skinning, binding. We use smooth skin for pretty much everything in Nickelodeon. Even like robots, we smooth skin them. And then after that, we do extras. We do deformers, we do tails, we do tongues, we do spline IKs. It depends on the character, what they need. And then we have our facial rigs, usually are done all blend shapes. The modelers provide those for us, which is fantastic. So we just have to connect everything. And then from there, we have a user like GUI that we give the animators. It's basically just like we take screenshots of the character, and then we put on there where all the controls are, what they do. That way, if the animator isn't sure, he can look at that. So we try really hard to keep everything animator friendly. Like that's our focus as riggers, because we want them to never be confused, and we don't ever want them to be afraid to use something. And that's another thing too, is we don't lock anything on the rig. We let them do whatever they want. If they want to break it, they can break it, and we'll fix it. So it's
Scale everything.
I mean, it's cartoons, so like we want them to be able to bend, squash. We want them to be able to stretch. They have to exaggerate. So
Thank you.
exactly. So it's fun. I love it though. But yeah, that's basically it for me. 7 to 8 days, start to finish, and I get a character back to back to back. So, but it's fun. I get a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah. So, here you go. Yeah, and I know when you're learning animation, like it can be really intimidating to have every control available unlocked, and so it's as learning I can understand like it may be intimidated to mess with that stuff, but getting into Nickelodeon and working with the people I work with, like understanding how to scale things and use it, and use those unlocked features to really polish your poses is just so nice. So again, thank you. I'm sure you made that call, so good job. Yeah. But my day-to-day, I roll in about 8:30. I'm a morning person.
He beats the bagel lady in.
I do.
He does.
I get the first bagel. And fresh orange juice. So it pays off if you're morning people. At least at Nickelodeon. But I roll 8:30, 8:39, whatever. And we kind of already know probably what we're doing. We get tasks assigned to us through our software program. And my job specifically, like I do character exploratory tests, like for Ninja Turtles. Before the show aired, we were doing like walk cycles, run cycles. We're like kind of exploring their personality. So it's really cool and creative and fresh, because it's before we know like the animation style of the show. It's before we know much of that, and we're like developing that look and how far do we push things, how far do we pull things back. We're doing like weapon draws and all sorts of fun little, we do dialogue, pantomime, just a bunch of fun stuff like that. And that's just for, like we send that stuff as like a media package over to whatever studio is gonna actually do the episodic work, so they kind of know what we're kind of looking for in the characters. They kind of have like a model sheet to kind of figure it all out, have kind of to hold their work up to, which is really fun, because again, it keeps it really creative and fresh, because it's all like, you might get it completely wrong. Like I had a number of shots, I still have a number of shots that I try something and it doesn't work at all, and they're like, just start over, that's not anything close to what we're looking for. I'm like, all right, sorry. So even though I work at Nick, and I have for almost 3 years, like still make mistakes. It's not really mistakes, you're just learning, but you just get through. But we do even NCR work, which is, I don't know what that stands for, acronym for something.
I never knew what it stood for.
It's like publicity stuff, like stuff you see online, articles, like posters, and
yeah, we have a few.
on coloring
Can we
books.
show those?
So
Yeah, if you want to show some of
we
them.
have examples of some of them.
Okay, so this is a paint over. I did this mostly in Photoshop, pretty much. Lighting in Maya, besides the mutagen things. But yeah, Tyler posed all these. So
Yeah, that was
it
fun.
is super dark up there. But if you go online, this is like on the Entertainment Weekly website, which I'm pretty proud of. Before and after, if you can get there. This was on the Entertainment Weekly website too.
Casey Jones.
The premiere for Casey
Yeah, this
Jones.
was his premiere episode announcement. So this is a before. Did you pose this one too?
Me and two other people we worked on this, Pablo Smith and
So these are NCR, whatever NCR stands for, we have no idea. But
publicity.
yeah, publicity
NCR.
basically. They put them up on websites and stuff. A lot of them I can't show yet, but there will be in Target this spring a whole bunch of new toys for all the villains, all the new villains for season 2. So there will be a whole bunch of them in Target,
Like
which is also pretty exciting for
yeah,
us.
on those, our team would also do like, if you guys are toy collectors, which I'm sure you're not, action figures, sorry, not toys. The back side of like the packages, there's like pictures of like whatever character it is doing some kind of action pose or whatever. That's our team too.
Yeah, we paint. I paint over most of those.
I did
So
some
the
of
Casey
them.
Jones toy package art, I got to pose that one.
Well, because we're basically like Derek
Shredder.
and Jessica are on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles actual show team. Me and Tyler are more on the development team, so we get to do like a lot of random stuff. I do background painting sometimes, which I'm not actually.
Me too.
Yeah.
She does.
Actually, can you talk about the difference? Like being on the core team, as you guys call it, versus like a show team?
When I was on the shows, it was just texturing, you know, the regular stuff. We did mental ray, a lot of MIA shaders. Well, back in TAC day, it was all really simple. It was pretty much like all blends and Lamberts. We didn't even use mental ray. But as we progressed, because when I applied there at first, they didn't even have a CG department. I just did it on a whim. Like, it was the last place. Like, nobody had answered me. I sent out like 100 reels. So I just, like, on a whim was like, okay, I'll apply to Nickelodeon. They don't even have a CG team. And I ended up being one of the first people that they hired. So I got really lucky. And I got to go along with all the development and stuff. So now we're like really advanced. We use, well, not super advanced, but for TV we're advanced. We use mental ray and MIA and everything. And but the core team, we just do a lot of random stuff. We do a lot of pilots that never get released. Like they pick them up just to see if it's good.
We do some shorts. Nickelodeon has, they started, I think 2 years ago. I don't know officially. So
like a shorts program.
Yeah, shorts program. And it's just like people outside the studio, inside the studio can pitch just their short film ideas. And it's just like 1 to 2 minutes. Like it's pretty short. And then they pick out of, I'm sure, hundreds submissions, like pick like I think 10 to 14-ish of those, and they work on making them into shorts. And so our team's got to work on a couple of the shorts and that. No, but that's fun. That keeps it, those are, you know, fresh new characters that aren't a part of anything yet. So it's fun to get to do stuff. I mean, Turtles is fun, but it's, our team is kind of, like the core team is kind of like an in-house, like kind of production, pre-production studio. Well, like I kind of talked about earlier where,
R&D.
yeah, like an R&D, which Derek was an R&D person on our team. This is our core show reel.
So these are probably, it's a lot of pilots that they just show to other studios to get work sometimes. Some of this stuff has been on TV, some of it never got released. It might be on the website, but
Yeah.
it was okayed to view
Well,
by my boss, so I can't get in trouble for this.
And thank you for permission.
just aired soon, so it's a pretty cute show.
Yep.
Fanboy and Chum Chum, that is one I forgot earlier. I did work on that too.
Yep. So I forgot where I was, but you
Sorry.
can watch this. No, you're totally fine. Yeah, so we're just doing all sorts of stuff and testing this stuff for whoever needs to see how a character moves. Like if we get a new rig for a new show, like we did some tests with Casey Jones' rig. Oh, cool.
Commercials, yeah.
Yeah, we did these.
The development team just does a lot of random stuff. Like anything they throw our way, we pretty much just have to figure out how to do it, so.
These were really fun, the animal rocket thing and then the hair thing. We got to complete, as on the core team, they actually approached us to come up with ideas. Those are like logo bumper things they do like in between episodes or whatever. And they actually approached our team. Hey, I did this shot. And a root did that too. So anyways,
Like
Pablo
this is
did
one
that
of the
shot. That was one of the
pilots.
shorts.
I don't think this one got picked up.
Yeah, that was fun.
I don't remember the name of it, but,
Level 15.
oh.
It was fun. But, so yeah, I keep getting tangents.
There's a
Shiny object.
You guys know what I'm saying? Do you guys remember what I'm saying? There's the question.
No, you were just talking about the core team.
Yeah, oh, another one of the shorts. That's Wingdings.
Yeah, so it's good. Like Full Sail really helps because
model sheets, yeah.
TV, we work pretty fast. Like there's a really fast turnaround, and sometimes they ask you to do things that you've never done before, and you just have to figure it out on the fly. So yeah, like I said, because I didn't know Nuke before a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden I'm having to composite things. So it helps, like having a month of everything. Oh.
A lot of exposure.
Another thing to a slight difference between core and like being on an actual show production. Core they get a lot of input in the first season of almost any show that we actually pick up. We use a lot of what Tyler will do or anyone else, and we use that off of like we try to base the show off of the ideas that they came up with that the like art director really liked. So then that'll influence the rigs a lot too, because if they do something that the rig didn't really compensate for, we'll add it in, and then all the characters of that show will be able to do it. So another thing too is it's just like core team gets a lot more like free reign to like develop it and everything, and we pretty much just have to listen to our art director. It's like they need this to do this on that shot, and it's like, okay, so we just have to make sure it can do it, and then pretty much go from there. Well, I mean, I speak more from like personal, because I always get a character, and then I can look at the animatic. Usually, like even if it's just storyboards with references, the storyboard artist will draw me an extreme pose. They'll be like, we need the rig to hit this pose, and then I can go from that. It's like, okay, well, if he has to bend his back 180 degrees, I have to be able to do that. So then if I have to, I'll make a corrective blend shape, or, you know, I'll do whatever I need to do to get it there. That way the animators can do it. So, and yeah, I think you guys more just like develop and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like the main difference between, obviously, so the core team is, they do everything, and then our actual show, and there's several shows, there's, you know, Cora and all the stuff, all have their own shows. We have the pipeline from start to finish. So we have, you know, the writers who come up with it, then the storyboard artists who write out the story, so we have something to follow, and then the character designers and set designers who actually draw out all the outlines and the basics for people to start with. And then you have character modelers and environment modelers, and they obviously model it. You guys go to school here. And then it goes to rigging and it goes to texture. You guys do that at the same time, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So rigging and texture goes on at the same time, and the riggers will be working on it, and then texture artists do what they need to do, and then it goes to a finaling process where the finalers go through everything, make sure everything's ready to move on, and then that's when it comes to me. I'm at the very end of the basic pipeline, and we set up the lighting per character and per set. We don't do shots. We set everything up and then send it overseas. So then it goes overseas to the animators, and the animators do what they need to do, and then it comes back, or well, while it's overseas, the effects artists are working and putting like the lightning, the fire, the ooze, whatever they need to do in it, and then that also kind of goes overseas all in a process after the animation is done, and then it gets done. And there are some compositors like in different studios overseas, and then there's also compositors in-house, and they do a lot of work. There's only 2 of them on our show, and they are amazing. They probably work, they have, I think, he was saying, like, what's the last one? He had like over 200 shot fixes to get done in like 2 weeks as a compositor, and that's a lot. But they're really good. But they still like, they do what they do, and they do it fast. Yeah, so that's the main difference between core team and a regular show.
So this is a rhetorical question, but I think some of the instructors will be happy. How screwed would you guys be without good pre-pro?
Very screwed.
It'd be fine.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It's pretty much everything for me, because I need to know what has to happen, if that makes sense. Because I have to make sure the rig can do it. Like that's, I know I keep talking in rigging personally, but it's what I do. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Switch, I'll talk.
Yeah. So, but it is actually, I know the modelers very well. Actually, the modelers sit in the room right next to me. So, like usually while they're modeling, I can go see what they're doing. And then, which is actually very nice, because I can tell them if I catch it, I'm like, oh, I need more edges in this shoulder, or I can be like, hey, can you straighten out the edge flow? It'll make skinning easier. You know, things like that is very nice to be able to just like talk to the other teams. And that's usually another show thing too. Is like all of our shows are usually together, like as the whole team. We have like a production half, and then we have all the artists. And usually we can go talk to anybody if there's any questions or anything ever comes up. So that helps a lot too. But pre-pro, very, very, very important. I know.
We sort of create our own pre-pro in-house. That's what the animatic is for. And so we are all told to go watch the animatic first before we, do what we got to do, so we know what it's done. I don't know how you guys work. Like, do they set up a sheet for you?
I
Derek?
usually get a color concept. People ask me sometimes, like, oh, you get to choose what color the characters are. No, I don't really get to choose. I do what I'm told. Most of the time, on shows at least, when I was on shows, you just have to match their concept exactly. Sometimes they change their mind 50 times, and it's really annoying. But now that I'm on development, they trust me a little bit more. I've been there for a while, so they let me decide. I get more decision-making. But yeah, when you're on the shows, you don't really get to choose a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's very important. I think that's what we're trying to say. But in animation, like on our team, sometimes we'll get an animatic from an episode or something, which the storyboard artists are really good. I remember some Kung Fu Panda storyboards, like they were almost fully animated. They were so clean. I mean, they were just really well done. So really fun to look at, but at the same time, just really clear instructions on what they're kind of wanting. But also the pre-pro is very important because you're also on a production schedule. So you don't have as much time to screw up, per se. I mean, there is understanding bosses, and like, but at the same time, there are deadlines, and so we have to really know where we're going to go with a shot. And I'll show my boss just little thumbnails, and reference. I mean, I'm more of a thumbnailer, but you know, if you're a reference person, that's totally fine. But I'll show him that before I even like open up Maya. Just kind of like, you know, he's like, we need kind of an action test for this. And I'm like, cool. So I'll like thumbnail, and I'll just show him those before I even start, just so at least I know where I'm going, and that saves me so much time. Because sometimes the deadlines are very, very tight because, you know, we just got a new character in and they're going to be an episode very soon, so we need to get it ready and overseas very quick. So, you know, like before shows come out, before Turtles, I worked on Monster vs. Aliens 2, and Wally Kazam worked on that. And before the shows came out, we have a little more time to do some exploratory stuff. But like once the shows come out, you know, the episodes have already started, animators overseas are doing things, we have much tighter deadlines. So pre-pro is huge. To wrap it all up, do your pre-pro. And do well at it. I mean, just make sure you know what you want and show it to people, show your instructors, show classmates, and just it really does help.
It's a lot better to know what you're going to do and get a feel for it instead of just going in and guessing what you're going to do. Yeah. You want to kind of you want to know exactly why you're doing something instead of going, oh, that looks good. I don't know why, but I put that there and it looks good, so I'm going to leave it. You want to know why, and it really helps because then you know your stuff, and when you actually can tell someone why you did something, it makes you look better too.
So what's the turnaround time on some of those shows?
How fast do we do an episode?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Well, we can kind of touch on that. I mean,
before that, we do like the equivalent of like 20-something feature films in a year. So we do a lot of work. I mean, I get about 4 or 5 hours to texture a whole character. Sometimes like a day to do a whole set. Like it's pretty fast turnaround.
I think it depends on the show too, because our show is super in depth versus some of the other shows. And I know. Well, you said you get like 8 days to do a rig a character. I think the modelers can get up depending on how many credits a character is, and that just is basically how detailed a character is. It depends on like a week to 3 weeks. The texture artists on our show, I know on an easy character about a week to texture a character, and then I get like, I probably light a character in a day, and then have for sets about a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, development goes a little bit faster because they want it as soon as possible.
Yeah, like a walk cycle when we were on Turtles. We were doing walk cycles, so I don't know which one to choose. I'll go back and forth. A walk cycle when we were on Turtles during the development stuff, I think we had a day to do a walk cycle. Like, get it shown and approved and polished and notes, wrap it up in a day. And then a run cycle, I think, was half a day. And then like the Wally Kazam thing, I don't know if you guys know much about that. It's Nick Jr.
Yeah, it just aired like a couple weeks ago.
They're like a little more smaller characters, a little squashy and stretchier, a little more like bouncy type characters. It was I think it was a shorter schedule. But yeah, it's different per show, like you were saying.
Every show's different. Everyone gets, they usually set that all up before they bring in the artists. The production will sit down and they'll set up the pipeline and how long they think this will take. They look at other shows and they use that as reference. And they're like, oh, well, if this show is getting these rigs done in 5 days, then our show should be able to do it maybe 6 or 7.
It depends on the budget.
Yeah, that too. It all depends how many artists you have, how much time you have, how fast like you need to crank out episodes. And there's a lot of it that goes into it. And it just depends. I mean, like, we're kind of in a crunch right now just because we're kind of working on 2 seasons at once just so we can get stuff out there.
Yeah, TV is definitely a lot different than feature film. I think only one of us has barely worked on a feature film. But
You get a lot more time.
yeah, you get a lot more
You get
time.
like 3 months to do a character.
Yeah, whereas one of the things, like, my boss is always telling me, like, find something so we can be faster. Let's be faster, 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 so that we can always get more work done and take on more work and make things look better. And one of the things that, as a lighter, I didn't expect was I script pretty much every day. I create small tools. I'm always trying to make my workflow faster. One of the things Reinhardt was saying was make marking menus. So believe him when he tells you that. And if you can't make marking menus, make a shortcut. Know all your shortcuts.
Yeah, custom tool shelves.
Custom tool shelves. Being able to set attributes in lights, being able to select all your lights that you want to change and just run a script and change exactly what you need to do. That really helps, and it's simple, basic scripting that, you know, like I can do it in Mel. I don't need Python, but you should probably learn Python. It's easier and faster, but it's simple.
Awesome.
One more small thing is I do have 2 friends who I used to work at Nick with me. They were both on Penguins, Joy and Nick. They were both at Nickelodeon with me. Now they're both at Disney, so they do features. And they get anywhere from, like she was saying, they get anywhere from a month to 3 months to do 1 character rig. And it's like, I crank these things out in 7 days. Yeah. if not faster than that, depending on how soon it is like needed. Because actually my last character I just did, I finished in 3 days. So it just depends. I was proud of that.
3 days is pretty fast.
So is it like whoever gets it done first, everybody else buys them beer?
It's
Pretty much.
constantly
Sometimes.
challenging yourself to go faster, pretty much, but still keep up the quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality's everything, all the time. You will always, at Nickelodeon specifically, we always have someone look at our file when we're done, always. And if they find anything wrong, it comes back to us or whoever made the mistake, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, it happens. It's just, you just fix it and you send it forward
And
again.
that's why it goes through finalers. So if we do make mistakes because we go so fast, they catch it, send it back
Yeah.
to us.
They're basically our QA.
Pretty
Our
much.
Quality
safety net.
assurance.
They save us, pretty much.
So actually, you guys have kind of worked on some pretty high-profile things. Turtles. Everybody knows Turtles. Everybody knows, half of us grew up with Turtles in some way, shape, or form. What kind of particular challenges do you guys face working with these like widely recognized characters like Kung Fu Panda, the Turtles? Like what kind of challenges, if you will?
What we get a lot is, hey, did you guys work on the movie?
Yeah. No.
No.
Or do
we
you know
did-
SpongeBob?
Yeah,
Do you
that
know
too.
SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Or have we been slimed, etc.
There really aren't that many challenges. Like,
Yeah.
Going from 2D to 3D, like CG, they are kind of picky about it. Like we tried to do a CG version of Dora, and it didn't work out so well because the 2D guys were just not happy with it. They wanted it to look exactly like the 2D, and it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't perfect enough for them, so it never got released. That happens sometimes.
that kind of happened with Turtles a little bit
Yeah.
because our producer worked on Teen Titans and came over, and he did 2D first, and he wanted the show to have that kind of feel. And we've pretty much gotten that, but it's a struggle, and you get to hear it. I mean, I don't have to deal with that on a first-hand basis, but I hear about
You
it.
have to
and
go back and forth and back and forth.
Back and
It
forth,
takes a
back and
long
forth. I
time
mean, I'm
to get
told
like
them-
the look down that they want.
Yeah, I mean, one day I'm making a set bright, one day I'm making a set dark, and one day I'm going back and making a set darker or brighter. So it really it depends. I guess the challenges are, it all trickles down a pipeline. So it's depending on what people want to watch and what they like, and then trying to make judgments on that, and then it comes back down to us to actually do the work.
Yeah.
So that can be challenging, but it's not that bad.
At Turtles 2 specifically was actually pretty hard because our director, he's come from other shows and they were all 2D. So in the beginning, he hated everything. Everything he saw in CG, he hated it. And
that happens a lot, actually.
yeah, so it's very hard. They have to understand it's very different, because that's another thing too, is a lot of people just don't understand what CG is. So they come in and they expect one thing, and then we show them what we have.
You work with a lot of like older people who don't really understand CG most of the time. So when you tell them something, they're like, "Oh, well, can't you just draw that?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah. They're like, "Can't you just change this color?" And it's like, I have to re-render it then. I have to re-render the whole thing,
Yeah,
and they don't
understands
understand
what rendering is.
But it's hard sometimes. But I mean, it's easier now because we're working on like the third season, like I said. So pretty much the style is set in stone now, and it's just now we just crank it out to the way that he likes it. And then he's happy, and everyone's happy, and we get to air it, and then we all get money. So,
Yeah, for animation, it was really, Turtles was just fun. You know, especially like I talked about earlier, my job's kind of fun because it's really exploratory. So, but there was, I mean, Turtles has its own animation style, very quick, and a few breakdowns, all that kind of stuff. So just kind of training yourself to start kind of thinking more snappy, quick, but like into stronger poses. Like that's a different style. But then on the Monster vs. Alien show, you know, they were wanting how close can we get to the movie, but also do it quickly, which is, you know, extremely challenging TV. But you know, they want Dr. Cockroach to not feel like a completely different thing from the movie, and you know, Bob, the gooey, squishy,
difficult.
Yeah. He was really fun to work with. I'm sure the DreamWorks guys had a blast too. But like, you know, how squishy can we make him, and how, because, you know, in the movie he's deforming every which way, fitting in all sorts of things. So they wanted, you know, the Nick rig, the Nick animation to be able to do the same thing and pull his eyeball out and do all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we're doing a lot of exploratory tests trying to figure how we can, as seamlessly as possible, get the two styles to match. So that's fun. But yeah, new shows are fun, like I talked about earlier, because it's really like we're kind of figuring it out. So.
Yeah,
But
that's the other thing. We work on a lot of shows that were movies. So we have to get it to match the movie, but in a quarter of the time. So it's hard sometimes, but we made it work so far.
Yeah. You guys have done well, I really have to say. So I'm in PAS. I'm about ready to graduate.
it's PAS.
Oh, that's what DRC was.
Okay, got
for
it.
you guys. There's no old schoolers here.
We're on
You know
point
what
now.
DRC is.
It's been a while.
Instructors. So I got my reel ready, and I'm applying for an internship at Nickelodeon, which they have a wonderful internship program. And you can follow them on Facebook as well. What can you expect?
Well, I hope you're in the summer so you can get a fall one, or in the winter so you can get a summer one, or a spring one. I don't know. Ready to apply. Definitely have your reel ready. I know most of us were, of course, ready when we graduated, but we had classmates that weren't ready, and they were like, "Oh, I'll just keep working on it in the summer." You're out of Full Sail at that point, and you don't have the resources. And even though they say you can come back, I mean, it could be different now, but most of my friends didn't come back, and they just kind of expected to have their half-done reel get them a job, and it's not going to. You're going to have to keep working, and you're going to have to make it awesome. And be ready. Don't wait. If you see a job and you're ready to apply for it, don't be like, "Oh, I'm going to make these last-minute changes and wait 3 days and render some stuff out." Don't do that. Apply right away, because timing is everything. I think all four of us can contest. Timing is everything. That's the only main reason we all got our jobs, was because we had the right timing and we got in there and we got our reels right there in the beginning, and they liked us and hired us.
more specifically for the internships at Nick, usually you'll start out on the production end of things. They'll teach you the pipeline. They'll show you how to send assets forward. Assets are anything. They're characters, they're props, they're sets. And so like it'll just be basically management at first is what every intern comes in as. And then from there, it's up to you, it's up to the interns, it's up to them to voice that they want to be artists. Because if you don't tell them that, they're just assuming that you're there for production.
Yeah.
So it's really up to you. If you come in as an intern, you have to show them that you actually want to be an artist. You have to make that effort. Like, talk to the artists. Don't be afraid to talk to people if you're there as an intern. Go around, talk to people, ask them what they're doing, see if they can just show you something. And then, because actually my lead right now on Turtles, she started out as an intern. And when she started out as an intern on Monsters vs. Aliens, I think. And she went through that internship is like a couple months. So she went through the internship, but she was very vocal that she wanted to be a setup artist. So when Turtles started, they gave her a shot. They were like, well, you've been here for a long time, everyone seems to like you, and you seem to know your stuff. So they set her up as a character rigger on Turtles, and then she's been there now for
3 years.
Yeah, like
3 years on the
spot.
show. Yeah.
And then just recently she was promoted to my lead. So it's always possible. You just really need to show them that you want it and that you're capable of doing it, and you can get in there as an intern and become an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I would say majority of the interns get hired on at Nickelodeon.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah, if you don't get hired on as an artist, there's always
Production side.
production or mailroom.
We
or
couldn't run
IT.
without the production people. So.
Yeah, production assistant, production coordinators. You
And-
guys do a great job.
Yeah, and even though it might
You're
take them a
watching.
little while, like we just had a mailroom guy move on as an artist, and he's been, I don't know how long he's been here.
Oh yeah, he's been in the mailroom since I started.
A couple years.
He's been there for
Yeah, he's been there for a while. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you get.
There's always mailroom.
Yeah, there's always mailroom and IT.
You guys are great too.
So perseverance is what you're saying.
Yeah, perseverance.
Just be dedicated.
Yeah,
And
you might not-
tenacity.
You might not get a job right away. It took me like 6 months of sitting in my bedroom on the computer. My parents bugging me like, "Are you gonna get out of the house? Are you gonna get a job?" I'm like, "What do you think I'm trying to do?"
Yeah.
Like, you're just gonna be sitting on your computer and like keep working on stuff. Like, I kept making things while I was waiting, sending reels out. Like, you guys don't have to send out hard copies anymore, but I did, and that was a pain.
Especially right now, with the way, like, there's a lull in the CG industry right now. They're ramping up, but you need to be good. You need to work really hard while you're here because you're here and you have the chance. And when you get out, you need to be and present the best that you can do right now, so that you can get into the industry, because it's what it takes. You need to be the best. They want the best for the cheapest.
One thing, I mean, they probably still say it here, but I remember when I was going through one thing, I had one instructor, probably several instructors would always say, and just really stuck with me, is you need to really be honest with yourself, and during whole full sale process, but also like when you have your demo reel ready and you're still working on it, you're holding your work up, not necessarily up to the best in the class or whatever. You're holding it up to the work that's currently being done, and you got to be at that level or better to get somebody to turn their head to notice. And that's intimidating. Like, I was just like, what? Like, the bar is so high and it's still getting higher. But I mean, that's, just reiterating what they're saying. Like, you just gotta keep pushing, keep going. My demo reel out of Full Sail was not the one that got me hired at Nick. Like, I kept making new assets. And so just kept updating and, again, sitting in my room, working on new stuff as much as I could, just keep going and trying new styles, techniques, acting, working on my acting and acting. And it was just, it was good. So yeah, just again, talk to people, look at the work. You can go on Vimeo these days, YouTube. A lot of demo reels are online, professionals, whatever, and just pause it on credits and Google those people and see if you can find their reels. Yeah, and just see where they're at. And you've got to, again, just hold yourself up. You got to be honest with yourself. It's hard. And I still look at people's reels from feature, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, even we have room to grow, and we keep looking, and we're like, oh, I wish I was like good. I'll get there one day.
You can always get better.
You can always get better, for sure.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about just kind of the corporate culture around there. Like, is it like SpongeBob running around the hallways, like pooping Skittles, or? I mean,
Not always.
Not always. Sometimes it's very serious, but I think
Like
about
Starburst.
6 o'clock once a week, our producer comes in and shoots one of us with a Nerf gun.
Yeah, there are a lot of Nerf guns.
I got one, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nerf gun fights.
There are perks. We get pretty cool parties every once in a while.
Food.
Occasionally
Yeah,
there's
food.
slime.
Yeah, Friday is donut day, so there's donuts.
You get
And I'm
donut.
the first one there, so I get my pick.
I'm the last one there. There's never any. I haven't seen a donut in 6 years.
It's
Yeah, the donuts go very fast if you want one.
There's free
cereal bar, that's fun.
Yeah.
You like cereal?
Every show has their own kitchen. Usually they're always stocked. Always has milk, cereal, coffee. Sometimes they'll have like bread and like sandwich meats. That's rare, but
I've never seen any.
it's very rare. I've seen it before.
There's milk and almond
No, I'm
milk.
just kidding.
Yeah, but they usually always
Tri-tip
have milk,
steak.
cereal, muffins. They bring in Mondays, donuts Fridays.
It's not like this everywhere, though.
Well, we have a Halloween costume party. That's fun.
Oh yeah, every year we do that.
I mean, we work hard, but there are
I
perks.
think we had one.
Do you guys do the derby races still?
No, we don't. The
One
the
year
go
I was there.
the RC car
I've
races.
done it in
Yeah.
a
I did that
while.
my first year. I failed. I had to jump over a. I had
yeah.
to drive the car over a jump, and
We used to
I
have
just
ping
went
pong
around it.
tournaments.
The shows would pair up and design their own RC car and like decorate it. So like Fanboy and paired up with somebody would design their own RC car. And I mean, it's fun working with a bunch of very talented artists because it's very creative. I mean, it's like here, you know, like a lot of creative people trying to achieve their dreams, and you're working with the people that are still pushing and achieving their dreams. So you're seeing these RC cars. It's like shaped like a turtle shell, and you're like, that's awesome. And it's like racing another like Fanboy spaceship, and the two characters are hanging out. And you're like, where did you have time to do that? It's amazing.
One big thing we do at Nickelodeon every year is their Halloween party, and
Oh yeah.
I have worked on this every single year that I've been here, and it is crazy.
Oh yeah, they make haunted houses.
We
The
make
whole
a
studio turns
huge
into a haunted
maze
house.
haunted house, and we do everything like literally like when you were in high school and you had to like pool funds and get like, you know, trash bags and stuff like that. We do that every year, and we start in August for October, and stress out like trying to work real quick and like do it on lunch and after work. It's fun, but
Yeah.
it's crazy.
You still have your deadlines.
We still have our deadline.
Yeah. But yeah, every Halloween specifically, they'll close down the whole main studio. We close down the whole thing, and then each show will get like a section of the building, and they get to decorate the whole thing however they want. We can bring in props. We can dress people up and have them stand in the hall and scare people. It's like we can do whatever we want to. We just get one section of the building.
We had Rat King this year.
That was creepy.
Yeah, he was awesome. That costume was amazing. I don't know who made it,
creepy.
but it looked
He did
just
it. He
like
did
the
it
character.
himself. He personally cosplays. He
Oh,
made it all himself.
So good.
They actually had a caution sign before you go down that hallway that said like for the kids, like actual scary or like
I actually
like,
put that up because kids were crying.
Yeah, they put it
And I
up.
was like,
It's like
this-
there's
parents are
something
gonna get
actually a
mad
little
at us.
disturbing through here. Just caution. It was pretty
It
funny.
really is scary up here.
He was pretty
We're not really there 24/7 though. We get a lot of time off. I know in games you'll work a lot of overtime, from what I hear. TV, we usually get off around 6, like, or however, like if
Your
you come
40
in,
hours,
You
yeah.
come in at 10:30, like, you know, you stay your
You
8
work your
hours.
8 hours,
yeah.
You get a lunch break, but you still have to work 8 hours.
Yeah,
So,
they want you home.
yeah, I mean,
resting,
we're not there
family.
all the time.
Yeah, pretty chill at Nickelodeon. Even the people who do work a lot of hours and have a lot of deadlines.
Yeah,
like,
they're pretty good.
I mean,
yeah, they're like, go take a coffee break, do what you need to do, but just make sure you get your work done, and make sure you do your hours. Like, and they know when someone's.
Yeah, if you get your work done on time, they're pretty cool with
Yeah.
anything you do.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Like I said, I roll in at 10:30, but I always get all my work done. I leave later than everybody else, but I don't know. I like it that way. I'm not a morning person.
And just because I have other friends in the industry around, it's pretty much like that almost everywhere, unless you have a deadline and it's crunch time. If it's crunch time, you better be there when they tell you
Yeah,
to.
that's different.
But otherwise, they know you're artists. They know we're all crazy and weird and all function differently. So
Antisocial.
And life happens. I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
go to doctor's appointments and whatever and other things. I don't know.
and if you prove yourself, they'll give you even more
Leeway.
leeway.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all there working just as hard to get their stuff done. So it's you know, they're not just like, you're the only one working hard. Why are you still here late? Come on, hurry up. It's like, no, they've got their stuff to do. And
it's very much a team effort. We pretty much all work with each other. It's because if you're not waiting for someone to finish something so you can start it, someone else is waiting for you to finish what you have so they can start their thing. And it's just constant. We're always working with each other, and it's very nice because it's usually pretty open. We can talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah, like in my lighting process, I have to set up characters and to show the producers and stuff what it looks like before we send it and get it approved. And after the riggers set up everything, I take it and I pose it and like open the mouth so you can see the lighting in the mouth, and like on different materials, like a metal material or a monster or something. And sometimes I'll have to go to the rigging team and be like, hey, how do I move this character? What are all these different things? Because you'll have like a little compact like buckle or something that has lights in it with like weapons coming out or something, and I'm like, where are the controls? And I call him up and be like, can you help me?
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Questions?
Yeah, we can open it up.
Yeah, we can do Q&A.
Q&A.
If anybody has questions.
Line them up.
Do we want to, where's our guy? Where'd he go? There.
Start in the front.
I see one.
Silliest question has to do, I'm a little teapot up front.
We have mics, so wait for the mic. You guys pick out who you want. And
Oh, okay. Sure, go for it.
Front row.
Hello guys, I have a question. How do you personally improve your art in your free time or whatever? What do? You have any tips for anybody?
I definitely can touch on that.
What's your name?
Yeah, what's your
Guillermo, like
Guillermo?
Guillermo Toro.
Guillermo.
It's Guillermo del
Yeah.
Toro on the front row, guys. Get him.
Not really, but yeah.
Well, one thing Tyler can say this later, but they offer at Nickelodeon drawing classes, like life drawing, and I know for animators that's a big thing. And then personally, as a lighting artist, I like to paint, like in Photoshop, and like study stuff, like even if it's just quick, like splotches and stuff like that of like an outline. Just like keep studying, keep living in your art and like examining things. Like I think one of the first things they told us at Full Sail was like, go outside and look at how things actually work, and you'll start seeing wireframe on people's faces, and you'll see how the sun hits things. Keep doing that. Anyone else?
Yeah, the drawing classes are awesome. But I mean, the thing they talk about is sketchbooks. I mean, I have a sketchbook with me most of the time. If not, I don't want to say all the time because I feel like it's very, like, I probably don't all the time, but a lot of times, and just same thing, go out and see people in Nickelodeon's in Burbank, and there's a lot of very interesting people in Burbank to draw. So airports, malls, it's very unique places. So, but yeah, it's just you're observing life, you're pushing. And then there's a number of blogs, industry professionals, friends, that I go to their websites because they're just better than me. And I'm like, gosh, you guys are so good. And I'm still just asking and learning and trying to figure out their techniques, and just geeking out at these really good artists. So, I mean, it's just you draw and draw and draw for an animator side. And I mean, they say that here, so listen to them because it's relevant, extremely relevant. Yeah. So yeah, just keep practicing and find people that inspire you, and remember why you got in this and go back to that. And it's fun on the days that get long and deadlines are hard. And what?
Is it all right?
What?
Is it all right, Tyler?
Oh,
All right.
and I'm rambling down. Here we go.
You're taking another question.
White shirt.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Cassandra Hembry.
Hi.
I'm actually in finals right now. I'm a setup artist. And I was just wondering what you guys were if you've seen the demo reels that people submit, and what you would suggest to set them apart from other people applying.
Nickelodeon, specifically, we care a lot about skinning. We care a lot about deformation. Scripting is awesome if you can do it. It's not a huge, that's not gonna get you hired or fired, but it helps. If it helps you, then do it. But seriously, skinning, deformation order, and just deformation in general, because it has to look good. That's the final product. Like, that's what everyone sees. No one sees your joints. No one sees your controls. Everyone only sees what the character looks like in motion. So that is very important. for me anyway. So.
For texture, like I said earlier, it's good to have, if you can, have some kind of a storyline, like tell a little bit of a story. I mean, you don't have to have all that stuff. I had a couple friends like that modeled everything for me, and one person rigged a character for me. But it's good to have some kind of a storyline, not just like turntables or, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know about modeling or anything.
Well, we can take another question. The guy in the yellow hat over here. It's weird picking people.
Hi, I'm Anti. I wanted to find out. Hi, everyone. I wanted to ask you all if you applied to any other major companies before.
Oh, yeah, all of them.
Even tiny companies.
When I got hired at Nickelodeon, when I had my interview, I actually was lucky and had a choice. I got the phone call from Nickelodeon, and then Ravensoft called me as well to be an intern. It just happened that Nickelodeon actually offered me a real position, so I took that. So yeah, just apply to everything. Don't, hope for the best. Apply to Pixar if you want to, but you're gonna have to apply to the little jobs, to every single place you can find. A lot of the requirements that they put up on their job listings are wish list things. Like Disney puts up so much wish list things. I think they have like a lighting TD that they wanted, and they were like, have 8 years experience being a scripter, and like
that stuff is a lie. Don't listen to it.
Yeah, have a PhD.
Always apply.
It's like
no matter what it says.
Yeah, apply.
Yeah, because it's all about the final look. I mean, if it looks great, they want to bring you in to see how your talent can be brought to the team. They want to,
Do you have any specific concerns, or are you asking a general question?
Well, because I'm in the audio program, and I met Big Sean, who's a major recording artist. So, and that kind of opportunity when you come across someone in a big company like that,
it's intimidating.
Just don't be afraid of rejection. Don't ever be afraid of rejection.
Yeah, but
always apply. Always mention that you're looking for work.
yeah.
You have to have a thick skin.
Yeah,
you do. I mean,
you get rejected a lot.
Just because they say no doesn't mean your value as a person drops at all. It's just, we're timing. Our stories have to do with timing, and
they look at like 300 reels. Sometimes they just skim past them. You just have to try and stand out.
You could be at the bottom of the pile in a long day of demo reels. You could be at the top. So not sure exactly audio, but you got to keep trying and pushing in all of this, because you just want to make sure you get seen, you get known, and you just keep trying. And like we said, update your demos, your works, and
if you get a chance to have an interview with them, it's always good to make them laugh.
Yes, people like to laugh.
It helps.
Yeah. Actually, one of the questions I got, in my interview was if I had to pick one of two sweaters, which would I prefer? And it was either llama fur or alpaca fur. And I said alpaca, and he liked my answer, so.
Was that Ant?
And that's the truth to Nick.
Dave would ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't remember
The answer is alpaca.
I got asked what my favorite movie was, and I love cats, so I say Aristocats. And they were like, what? Why? I'm like, I don't know. It's just my favorite movie.
That answer your question?
Is that good?
Not really.
Anybody else have
Just
a
keep
question?
applying, man. Keep trying. Keep pushing.
We have one
Keep
over
in
there.
touch.
Like you said, you
yes.
can't be scared. You have to have thick skin. Like,
Yeah.
I should have been afraid to tell him I was an artist, even though he's famous, and I'm just.
Yeah, like I said earlier.
I mean, you talk to him. You
Yeah.
weren't afraid to talk to him, so that's
Yeah,
the thing.
like I said earlier about like working with big stars and big companies and stuff. Like, you just be calm, be cool, and then once you actually get a feel for who they are, it's fine. Like, I play League of Legends, and I went to the LCS, and I'm like over here like. I actually work in the industry, but I'm like, oh, you guys are players, and I'm still like, oh, you're so cool. So
Yeah, you
just
still
be
get
cool.
nervous to talk to people. You just
Yeah,
have to,
we were nervous as hell to come up here. So
Thanks for coming back.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's good to be back.
And then-
Another question over here.
Actually, I want to add something to what they were talking about.
Sorry.
You never know what kind of potential they're going to see in your reel or in your work. It might not be exactly what they're looking for right now. However, they might have something else coming up and they'll be like, "Wow, that's kind of cool. You know, let's bring this guy in." So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, sometimes you will get those calls too, where someone will call you and they're like, "We really like what you have. We just don't have a position for you right now," and that always sucks to get that call. But I don't know. It's nice to know that they did watch it and that they thought it was nice or whatever.
It's good though, because if you have like a good personality and you're good talking to them, they could always call you back.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they'll remember you.
I think we had.
Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Dallas.
Hey, Dallas.
This is more like rigging specific, but seeing as like lighting and like texture has like more references they can refer to, and like it's more like visually understanding. How do you improve your techniques in like rigging, because it's more like technical as opposed to like visually seeing what's wrong?
It's honestly a lot of problem solving. Like if
troubleshooting.
Yeah, exactly. It's just you have to make time. That's the hardest part. Is you have to try to find something new, something you've never done before, and just try to make it. And if you can do it well enough, you can just put it into the rig. Like I guess it depends on your lead and how picky they are about it. But we're pretty open, like rigging-wise, on turtles. And as long as something works consistently, and we don't have to worry about like going back and fixing it all the time, and as long as everyone like understands it, like if you find something new, you can show it to everybody. And if everyone likes it, we'll just put it in the rig, you know. And then we'll just make a note. We'll tell the animators to try this out. Like, hey, there's a new control. You should try this. It's hard though. It's really hard to find something. You just really have to look for it. Think of something you thought would be awesome in a rig and try to make it. And then, like, I know it sucks, but that's really all it comes down to, is try to think of something you haven't seen before, or something you have seen before, you just don't know how to set it up, and just try and try. Don't be afraid to break it. And honestly, I start over more than I try to fix things. So it's preference.
Do you have anywhere that you specifically go and look for things like that, like CT Talk or?
Honestly, I talk to a lot of my friends. I have a lot of rigging friends at different studios all over, and they tell me what they do in their rigs, and then I try to think of how I could apply that like to my show. So.
Got it. Thanks. Oh, one more quick question. What's your most challenging rig you've come across?
I'm sorry?
Most challenging rig you've like come across?
Oh, I actually just rigged a gigantic character. He's all right. So say you have a Ninja Turtle, right? And he's like this big. The character I just rigged is probably like this big, and he's got 7 mouths randomly on his body. He's got 16 eyes. He's got 5 legs, 6 arms. He's also fat, which is a pain to skin. He's amazing though. I can't wait to see him animated. He was a lot of work.
Can't wait to have to render him.
He was so much work, and his textures are insane. He's like purple and red and orange. It's just insane. But I can't wait. That's another reason why I love Turtles, is because our show is getting more and more ridiculous character-wise, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun to rig. I don't know.
You never know what they're going to come up with next.
Yes, exactly.
I think that one over here.
It depends. Sometimes for that character, it took me a month. It depends how many credits they'd consider a character. But I'm saying in general, usually for a biped or a quad, you get about 8 days.
Credits means hours.
Yeah, credits.
I think we got it over there.
Hello, my name is Robert. I'm in game dev.
Hey, Robert.
I've always wondered, like, for animations and TV shows, how much like assets do you get to reuse, like in an asset pool that just keep popping back up?
All of them?
A lot. Yeah, I mean.
Try to use as much as possible because it's cheaper.
How many of you have actually seen an episode of Turtles? Okay.
Thank you.
Do you know the dojo in the very beginning with the like rays? That was the very first thing I ever did at Nickelodeon, and they reuse it pretty much every episode. So, yeah. Which is kind of crazy because I'm like, I could fix this and that. And
that's another thing. That's another thing too. Is we always try to make sure everything is set up to be reused as many times as possible. So like even if I was to do a background character who only does like this in like 2 seconds of the episode, he is fully rigged. He has a facial rig. He has all his blends. He has all his clusters. He has all his deformers. In case they ever need to use him for anything again, he's set up.
Yeah,
so
everything has to be good from every angle because you never know how they're going to use it.
And you never know.
A giant library, they use everything all the time.
Yeah, because like I just worked on a set that had Kung Fu Panda assets in it. So
yeah. I mean, we reuse tax stuff all the time, and we did that like 7 years ago. So
yeah. It's cheaper, so instead of making a new one, just reuse. So yeah.
And of course, the turtles are reused.
No, see one?
Yeah.
Is there one up there?
Hi, my name is Autumn.
Hi.
And I'm in computer animation. So my question is 2D animation starting to like die down? Because I mostly hear 3D animation and CG animation. So
it is not actually.
It is not.
Nickelodeon is starting to go back towards 2D mostly. They're still doing, Turtles and Wally Kazam, but they're trying to pick up more 2D shows because I think they're a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, 2D shows these days aren't necessarily done on paper, though. There's, Wacom tablets, Cintiqs, and that kind of stuff. But there's, most of the cartoon programming on Nick is still technically 2D stuff. SpongeBob and
Dora.
Yeah, well, look at
Dora
the stuff
and
that we
Breadwinner.
watch.
This is a new show coming out, and
yeah, like just
Sanjay
look at
and
the,
Craig. I mean, that's all traditional animation.
Mm-hmm. Even all the animatics we use they're all animated. They're all 2D. They've all been animated by our storyboard artists.
Yeah.
So no matter what, there's always a place for 2D artists.
Yeah. If you wanted to go in 2D, you'd be perfectly safe.
Yeah, half of our team we split up in like 2D and CG. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think this one. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Joshua, and I had a question.
Hi, Joshua.
In regards to, you guys all came through the school, and you take classes in virtually everything, like rigging, animation, etc. How important was it to you to like focus on what you wanted to do as your craft instead of like trying to be the best at everything?
Ooh.
Well, you're not going to be the best at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good that you learn everything because sometimes they'll ask you to do something totally random. And you'll be like, okay, I can do that. Or if for some reason they don't need a texture artist anymore and they need a compositor, like I can just switch over. But you do want, if you find something that you really love, like you really love modeling, like keep doing it as you're doing your other classes. Like when you go home at night, model something. But
it's still good to be decent at everything. So still try to get, A's and B's in your classes because that'll carry on more than just knowing, rigging or how to script. It'll carry on because you're good and you want to be good at what you do. So just carry that out through your classes. And I mean, some things happen. I mean, I almost failed character modeling. So I
did fail character modeling.
she did.
Actually, my roommate, he used to work at Nick with me. Now he's at DreamWorks. He graduated as an animator. Like he wanted to animate, but when he got his job as an animator, they also asked him if he could set up a set. And they needed some props modeled, and he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." So from that, they actually told him that he's a better modeler than he is an animator, and he was very upset at first, but. Actually, that's all he does now. Is he's an environment modeler. He doesn't animate anymore. So, but he could still do it if it comes up, So it's good to have the knowledge to know how, because you never know. Like, there's always that chance that you could be doing something you really like, but you're better at a different aspect.
Yeah, one thing for me, I kind of do a little bit of everything on a daily basis. Like I light mainly, but I also need to know a little bit of rigging. I need to know scripting. I definitely need to know compositing. I'm actually a lighting and compositing artist. And then I also need to know animating. I animate cameras, and I have to like move the characters around to pose them and render them. And I need to know a little bit of texture because I have to, when I'm lighting a set, I adjust things. So I'm always going into the shaders and adjusting them and then sending it back to the texture artist and say, fix this. So I pretty much have to know everything. And I need to even know modeling a little bit because I need to know what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. So it's really good thing that you guys have to do everything. Like, even though it sucks, because sometimes you're like, I really hate this class, it will be in handy later, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Anybody?
Down here. Somebody has a microphone.
I saw one over there.
There's one
So
there,
you're
one
next.
there, one there.
No, you're next. I saw your hand shoot up. So you go ahead.
Hi, my name's Adam. I'm in the
Hey, Adam.
writing.
Hi, Adam.
Hi. All right, so my question is, how has Full Sail, like, I mean, I know you're talking about knowing all of the different aspects, but how has Full Sail itself, like, given you an advantage at Nickelodeon, or has it?
It has definitely. We work, since you guys have to work in an accelerated rate, like you get things done really fast, that helps a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, it helps
a lot.
Plus,
they love the faster you can work, the better.
Yeah.
They love that.
career development got me my job. So, yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
So go to your career appointment thingies and dress up nicely, even though you probably don't want to. Do it.
Yeah, I mean, what they were talking about, the question before, just while it is good to have a focus because you do want to stand out in an area and kind of be good at one bigger thing, the fact that Full Sail did cover all that, I can voice an input on something, like, because I took rigging, I can actually be like, okay, this rig, like, this is weird, and I can be like, hey,
how
riggers,
everything
I can
works.
talk to them a little bit, other than just being like, I only know that my animation doesn't look right, and you guys do something to make it better. Like, I can actually be like, hey, the deformation here, or hey, this control, could you lower it? Could you move the pivot? Like, it just helps me know how to talk throughout the pipeline to the different people. The render people come in and say, hey, the shadow looks weird, what's going on with the animation? I can be like, oh, and like, it just helps me know how to talk to everybody a little easier. Even though I specifically do animation, Full Sail help my vocabulary and help my understanding of everybody else's jobs. So that's really, really valuable in a pipeline.
Yeah.
We have time for one more question.
No.
Do you still have yours? I saw yours shoot up.
I'm Carlos, and I'm in
Hey,
the
Carlos.
film program.
You're in the what program?
Yeah, the film program.
Film
Film
okay.
program.
As an aspiring film student, how is the hiring of film of writers in Nickelodeon?
I have a couple writer friends.
Go ahead.
That's hard because we don't really work with them directly. I know that one of my friends, you just like need to have things for them to read. It's just like a same as a demo reel or whatever. They need to see what you write and how you write and the different kind of things that you do, and to see if it fits into what they want and like the kind of style that they want. And I'm not going to touch too much on it because I don't know that much on it. But yeah, there are writers and there are supervisors and stuff who maybe have come from a film background and need to be able to make things all merge together. But mainly it's artists at our studio.
That's another thing too, is if you can tailor your resume or your reel to the person you're applying, that helps you a lot. Like if you sent Nickelodeon like all this hyper real stuff, they probably wouldn't care that much. But if you sent them like cartoony things, they'd be more interested. Like just like that kind of thing. But it all depends on what you have at the time and like what you're willing to do and how far you're willing to go. Because also timing is very, very important. Like like she said earlier, don't wait to send them anything. It's just if you happen to have it and you can tailor your reel for them, do that. It might help.
And one thing I wanted to touch on, sorry, that I just remembered. I know they push LinkedIn, they push Twitter, they push everything here. One of my pet peeves is if you are trying to contact someone in the industry through LinkedIn, do not leave the default message. Like, be personable. That goes along with the whole thing of like, you need to make a name for yourself. You need to put yourself out there and like explain why you're contacting this person. And Also, just be nice. Don't bug people if they don't get back right away. Don't message them again. And if they give you, a critique, thank them, and don't keep asking for more stuff because they're busy. They have jobs, and when you actually do get a job, you'll totally understand how, you have a life, and it's not your job to critique everybody, but you will be willing to. So yeah, just be professional.
Yeah, and then, the same thing, if you get an internship at a studio or whatever, same thing as we were saying about the artists, like, go talk to the writers. But, tailoring your reels, your writing, that was one thing, if I was to do Full Sail, like, knowing, I would have tailored, like, looked at the studios I really want to work for, and instead of just making fun little assets that I thought were fun, like, I'd actually be like, what would these guys be looking for? Like Derek was saying, you're not going to send a creature animation Nickelodeon and that go very far, but
Well, sometimes you have to, though. If you make a game reel and you are not going very far in games, like, you're just going to send it to whoever you can send it to while you have it,
Switch gears.
Yeah.
But, it is good to tailor it to who you can, but,
And do your research. See what projects that are coming up, because studios, big ones, small ones, usually on their websites have current or upcoming projects announced, so, if they're going to be doing some dog animation, work on your quadrupeds, so
you want
that kind of stuff.
Close with the opening credits.
Sure.
Yeah. Can we just switch to a computer real fast?
Well, Tyler just brought the opening credits that he animated. You did this, right?
The whole thing, no.
Feel free to
Well, not
I
the whole
worked
thing,
on
but
it.
he worked on it.
And we'll close out with that.
Feel free to sing along.
Is there
Is there music?
Apple, yeah.
Here we go, it's a lean green ninja team. On the scene, cool teens doing ninja things. So extreme, out the sewer like laser beams. Get right with the shell shock pizza kings. Can't stop these radical dudes. The secret of the ooze make the chosen few. Emerge from the shadows to make their move. The good guys win and the bad guys lose. Leonardo's a leader in blue. Does anything it takes to get his ninjas through. Donatello is a fellow, has a way with machines. Raphael's got the most attitude on the team. Michelangelo, he's one of a kind. And you notice where to find him when it's party time. That's a splinter taught him every single skill they need to be one lean, mean, green, incredible team. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in the half shell. Turtle power.
Yeah.